Hello and welcome to Wizard World Virtual Experiences. I'm Captain Kyle from Phantom Spotlight and the host of The Governor Reacts, and I will be your moderator for this amazing Walking Dead panel. We are streaming to you live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, bringing that Comic-Con life straight to you in the comfort and safety of your own home with this free celebrity panel. Plus, we have paid exclusive experiences, including one-on-one private video chats, custom recorded messages, and autographs. So whether you are watching this live or later in the week, don't forget to head to wizardworld.com and check out these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. And also don't forget to peruse signed memorabilia from our past virtual experiences and works of art from our favorite artists and vendors at wizardworldvault.com. We have people tuning in for this panel from all over the world. We have England, Ireland, hi Katie, Czech Republic, Scotland, Canada, the Netherlands, Mexico, Brazil. Throughout the US, we have Atlanta, Georgia, where, of course, very close to where The Walking Dead is actually filmed. Michigan, New York, Illinois, Washington, Oregon, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, which is kind of another country. I live there, so it's fine to say that. California, Wisconsin, all over the place. We have fans tuning in, and you're not here to listen to me. Let's get to what you've been waiting for. The Walking Dead has entertained horror fans for 10 seasons and generated 2 spin-offs with more to come. Let's bring out our amazing guests. So you may know this actor from A Million Little Things or Robot Chicken, but most know him from 109 episodes of The Walking Dead. This actor is tired of being told to stay in the house. He played Carl Grimes. Let's welcome Chandler Riggs.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
what's going
Chandler,
on?
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
So our next guest has been seen in Doctor Who, Britannia, Singapore Grip, Extant, The Missing, Blackpool. And he is well known, though, for his role as Philip Blake, a.k.a. the Governor. Let's bring out David Morrissey.
Hey.
Hey, David, welcome. My brother from another mother.
Oh, good to see you, man. How are you?
Good. How are you hanging out in England? How's things going?
It's cold, but it's okay. It's fine, thanks. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's bring out our next actor. He's been seen in Preacher and Dropa, and you've heard him in Dragon Ball Z, and he was Carol's boyfriend on the show, which I think makes Ezekiel the rebound guy. He was Tobin, Jason Douglas.
What's up, guys? How are you? Chandler, David, Kyle, so good to be with you.
Awesome to have you, Jason.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So this actor's from The Fifth War, The Devil's Rejects, Rango, Unstoppable, and he was Axel on The Walking Dead. Let's welcome Lew Temple.
Lew. Hey, everybody. Hey.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, man. It's good to be here. What a great group.
Well, I have saved the best for last. This talent has been seen in The Starter Wife, Everybody Hates Chris, Death House, Encounter, lots more. He was Oscar in the show. Please welcome Vincent Ward.
Now that was funny. What's going on, guys?
Welcome. All right. Now, before we get too far into this, Jason, how are things going in Texas? I know you guys were hit hard.
I think we are fully thawed by now, Kyle. It is it was a mess here. I had busted pipes like a lot of people, but yeah, we're on the rebound, and I think we're in a mid 60s day. So yeah, thanks for asking. It was quite a ride for that week.
Well, hopefully you guys will be a little more winterized next time.
Oh my gosh, yeah, something needs to happen.
And Chandler, I just want to check in with you. I know last month you had some surgery. You recovering fine? You had a walker at one point?
I did, yeah. Everything's all good. Yeah, recovered just fine. So I'm walking around without a walker. It's nice.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those walkers. So we have a lot of fan questions coming in, but there's one that I wanted to ask you guys before we get to those. Obviously, The Walking Dead has a lot of CGI effects, but they also have a lot of practical effects. So this is for everybody. What was the most challenging or interesting practical effect you had to deal with? And let's start with Chandler, because you had a lot to deal with.
Man, I think the funniest experience that I had with one of the walkers was all the way back in season 1. There was this walker with like its jaw was like missing and its tongue was like hanging out in bits, and I wasn't in the scene with it, but they were shooting that scene while myself and Madison Lintz, who played Sophia at the time, we had something going on that we had to be there on set for, and we broke for lunch, and the main unit broke for lunch at the same time, and Madison just got like a nice like big plate of food and sat down at like the lunch table, and then that zombie walks in, and it's like, it's covered in blood, and it's got like stuff hanging out all of its mouth. It looks absolutely disgusting, and she looks at the zombie, looks down on her food, and just gets up and just throws her plate of the food in the trash and walks back to her trailer. She just can't eat anymore. Just grossed her out. It was really, really funny. Made fun of her for a very long time after that.
Wow. Yeah, I can sympathize. David, you had to like bite Rooker's fingers. You had all kinds of stuff that happened. What was the most interesting practical effect you dealt with?
Well, I'd just like to give a shout out to Daryl Pritchard, who's one of our special effects guys, and he had to. There's a picture of me in Woodbury standing in front of my house or office, and it's on fire, and he's in charge of all that. And he's the guy who always says to me, don't worry, if it gets too hot, it'll be fine. It won't burn you or anything, and it never does. It's always very safe. But there was one time when I was attacking the prison in my tank, of course, as I did, and we had to blow it up. And of course, I'm supposed to know what's going on. And this explosion went, and I just, honestly, I as we would say in Britain, bricked it. I just absolutely, you saw my face as the governor go, oh my God. It was like, it just came out of character. It was the biggest explosion I'd ever seen in my life. And we did it 4 or 5 times. It was amazing. So, the great thing about being on the show all the time is those things come at you 3 or 4 times a week. You're never in your trailer waiting for stuff to happen. You get out there and it's just so exciting, the stuff. Losing my eye, the fight with Michonne, that was pretty special. Biting Miles' fingers off, that was pretty disgusting. So these things, that's why we love doing the show, is these things come at you thick and fast, and it's just the best ride, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Rooker tried to shove his fingers into my mouth too, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
You're lucky it was only your mouth.
Oh. So Lew, how about you? What kind of practical effects did you have to deal with?
I think the one that was really fun, and like David said, it was kind of shocking. We were getting started as the prisoners dealing with walkers for the first time. And, we were told, look, you've got to kill them by the head. And we didn't buy into any of that. So we're going to attack them. And Greg Nicotero was heading up special effects, as he does, before he was directing as much as he does or running the show. And he had told me about this blood pack that he had on a particular walker, and I needed to hit it just right. And I have had enough experience to understand, just right means really hit it. So I took my shiv or whatever it was, this little knife, and I jammed it into the walker kind of a little harder than I should have, expecting that I needed to give it a little extra, which I didn't, and blood went all over me. I mean, it was crazy. And I was like, oh shit, I have ruined this. And then it just kept coming. And so I kept jabbing and more blood kept coming, and it became a folly. It was silly.
Did they keep that in though? That would be awesome.
Of course, just to make me look stupid. Yes, they did. Yeah.
Too
It
bad the
kind of
actor
served
died.
the character, I suppose.
How about you, Vincent?
Mine goes back to like kind of what Chandler was talking about. It was one day I kept smelling pulled pork, and I was asking everybody, are we having pulled pork for lunch? And so the one guy, he had heard me. He was like, no, that's not. He said, no, we're not having pulled pork for lunch. That's T-Dog over there, Irony Singleton. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, they said, well, they had to fill his body up with pulled pork, and it was 2 walkers that was eating him. And I was like, after that, I never wanted barbecue ever again. Because, to see them like really eat him and the pulled pork falling out of their mouth, I was done with pulled pork for a long time. So, yeah.
Wow. Almost make it go vegetarian.
Oh,
All right,
big time.
how about you with the practical effects?
Was that me? Did you call on me?
Yes, Jason.
It's funny when you said that earlier. I thought about all the things and I was on set for like the fall of the tower over Alexandria, and then later on when they, blew up Tobin's house, and those were all amazing. But it's funny what Lew was saying about hitting that blood pack, because in my final episode as a walker, I had to bite into some flesh. And what's amazing is like they create this in a way that it looks indistinguishable from the real thing. And so he's kind of explaining, the blood pack's kind of like right here. He's showing me on the actor, and I'm like, what blood pack? That's his neck. I'm not gonna bite his neck. He's like, no, it's okay. You can feel it. I was like, okay. And the thing is, they call action, and you've got to like go in, and you got to hit that spot. And I'm like nervous the whole time. I'm like, I'm gonna bite this guy's neck out. And so I went in and I went for it, and I'm pulling it, but I'm like, something didn't feel right. And I never found out for sure, but I asked the actor, I was like, hey, did I get you? And he was just like, oh, it's okay. I don't know. But I mean, I think it must have looked great, but we suffer for our art, Kyle. That's what we do.
Absolutely. All right, that was awesome. I do have a question from Lisa Morgan, who's from Ireland. She's asking if you guys kept any souvenirs from the show. So, Jason, since you just were answering, we'll go in reverse order. What did you keep or not keep?
I don't know that I actually have. I do. Actually, I have the little sign that was always pasted to the trailer door. It's got my character name on it, Tobin, and it's like stuck on a mirror somewhere. So every time I walk by there, it's kind of like a nice little memory. But I don't have any props or wardrobe. There are fans who make like identical Tobin wardrobe to the stuff that I wore, which is amazing. But that's it for me. Just a little trailer sign.
Cool. Vincent, did you snag anything?
I guess I got shot with a shotgun. So it was like some shotgun pellets around, or the plastic thing, and I just took one. That was
to remember your death.
Vincent, I have a few of those too. Like, actually, now that you mention it, like
yeah.
the little shotgun casings that fall on the ground. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking, that'd be cool to just kind of show my grandkids.
Yeah, that's the only thing I had to.
Yeah.
Lew, you got anything?
I got a jumpsuit, one of the prison jumpsuits that wore me as opposed to me wearing it. But the main thing that I took was, and any of us would say the same, is the friendships, like really amazing friendships. So that's the souvenir that I took mainly.
That is awesome. David, a Billy Reed walking coat did you take, or a shooting vest?
I've got endless eye patches. I mean, I got a garage full of eye patches, man. I mean, I've got like the eye patch that I first used, which is like a bandage, and then the other one which we used, which was a bit of a cowhidey sort of thing. So I've got a lot of them because they were always breaking, and we had lots of them in reserve and stuff like that. And so I kept them. But like Lew said, I've got a lot of memories. I've got loads of photographs. So what I have is I took a lot of photographs when we were working, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I would never show publicly, just memories for me and a lot of us sort of having fun, and the group of people I worked with on those 2 seasons. So I've got they're the big. So when I think about the show and I go back to the show, I look at those photographs. So that's where my memories are. But physically, I have a lot of eye patches.
I might need to borrow some.
Yeah.
Chandler.
I'm hiring them out. You can't have them. You have to hire them out. They have an hourly rate.
I hope I get a discount. Chandler, how about you? Did you get anything?
Yeah, on my last day, I received one of the hats that Andy wore in the first season, one of like the 6 ones that they had, and then I also got one of the T-shirts that Carl wore in the first season, like the science dog T-shirts, and they had it like framed, and it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to get that on my last day.
I take it
I
it didn't
think-
fit anymore.
Absolutely not. No, it's made for a 10-year-old. It's like that big. Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things that I did see somebody get was Irony, the shield.
Oh yeah, that was
That
cool.
shield that everybody signed. That was really, really nice.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
That's the
I never
riot
got
gear
anything
shield.
like that.
Yeah, the riot shield. It was nice that everybody signed it for him. So it was a sad day.
Yeah.
That was
Even
my
the sh-
first day. That was my first day sort of around it was when
Yeah.
T-Dog. Yeah, that was it.
Mhm.
I remember the first scene I did, was not that I did, but I came in just watching was when Scott lost his leg, when Andy chops Scott's leg off.
Oh,
And,
that was an
was
incredible
awesome to say.
scene. That was our
literally like, hello, welcome to the show. And then they were off. And I was like, whoa.
You know what's amazing about that scene was that they had shot that on their side, their coverage the day before. And they had come in just to reenact and give us something on our coverage, our very first day, the 5 prisoners, to react to. And they went full Monty. I mean, they went full out. And that was really that set the bar, and it always set the bar, and it always does. And Chandler, David, Jason, of course, Vincent, you guys all know this, that it's this baton that gets passed along, this bar that continues to get passed along. And I'm so honored and proud to have been part of that. But that was amazing to see that group of actors off camera performing at that level, to give us, for me just to say, holy shit.
Right. And that last day for Irony, for T-Dog, that was the first time me and Lew had saw Chandler. So when
That's
he came
true.
out with the gun, we was like, who is this kid? With
We
this
had no-
gun and this baby.
Oh, it was awful. Andy's, sobbing, and he's beside himself. And Vincent and I, they weren't sure, and they just set us up standing out in the courtyard. And we're like, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, a boy with a baby and a gun comes walking out. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't know.
What kind of show did I sign up for?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question here. This is from Chambler's GF, girlfriend, I guess. And they said it's actually for Carl and David, but I want to open it up for everybody. If your characters didn't die, what role in the show do you think you'd currently have? What part of the community? What would you be doing? Let's start with the worst death, Chandler, that we all hated. If you were still alive, what do you think you'd be doing now?
Well, I think Judith kind of took on the role that Carl would have had, that he had from the comic books. I think he really would have went down the same path as both Henry and Judith have kind of gone down, and in terms of that, I think he probably would have taken on a little bit more of a leadership role in some fashion, but he would have, been as, I feel like he would have had that arc with Negan, had that arc with the Whispers, and I feel like we're kind of already seeing the road that Carl would have went down, just played out with, different characters.
Understood. Yeah, definitely. Side note, do you think that Carl would approve of Judith's friendship with Negan?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Carl's like dying wish was for Rick to not kill Negan, and his whole thing for his last few episodes was about forgiveness and and trying to, just put our differences aside and come together for something better. And I think he definitely wouldn't, he would be the one in the cell talking to Negan, if he hadn't have died. So, yeah.
Awesome. So Lew, if you hadn't taken a shot to the head, I think it was David who killed you.
It sure was.
If you hadn't had your head ventilated, what role do you think you'd be now in the show? What do you think you'd be doing with the survivors?
I think Axel would have, tried to continue to be sort of a peacemaker, a deal maker amongst the group of survivors. I think through association with Herschel, I think there might have been a little rehabilitative Bible study. I think Axel may have taken on a charismatic preacher type of role, rather Pentecost, and been an alternative to Father Gabriel for the good word.
Well, yeah. And Father Gabriel gets kind of intense, so maybe Lew, you would have been a better choice for some people who wanted a little more chill.
Yeah, maybe leaving service feeling good about themselves.
How about a bottle episode between you and Gabriel, like a little theological debate, like the whole?
That'd be great.
The ratings would plummet, but it would be,
like a tent service. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. I'd watch that. David, if you had maybe not killed Herschel and took the deal that Rick had offered, where do you think you'd be in the series now?
Yeah, I think there could be some alliance between the governor and Negan. I think I think the governor might have in some way played low status with Negan for a bit, and then just sort of surreptitiously sort of taken over in some way. He was very clever in that way. I could never see him teaming up in any way with Rick and the team. That's the whole basis of having the taking the prison, was the fact that he was never going to team up with Rick. If there was a possibility that he would team up with them, then he would have entered that prison in a different way. So, but Negan, I could see there being some sort of evil alliance between them, and I'd worked with Jeffrey before on another show, and I didn't get a chance to work with him on this, obviously, but I would have loved to have a chance to work with him again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Exon didn't last as long as we'd like, but what could you do? Vincent, where would you be today if you hadn't taken that shotgun blast?
I think I would have been the muscle, the loyal guy, of course. I tell people all the time, just because a person is in prison or in jail doesn't make them a bad person. It just made them bad choices. So I think, just like Oscar was a loyal person to the group, but I think it would have taken Axel to be there also, because I felt like we brought a little comedy, a little buddy comedy sometimes for a show that was always dark. We will always go back and forth and say, little funny things. So I think it would have been something like that. He would have been the preacher. I would have been the big bad guy, but we still would have had a combination of making people laugh.
Maybe the bouncer at the front of the church when people coming in. It's like, no, you go to Father Gabriel.
The deacon. He could have been the deacon.
Jason, where do you think you'd be?
I'd still be competing for Carol's heart, of course. No, fans will hate me for saying that. But I don't know. I think the writers would probably finally get an Emmy for figuring out how Tobin would continue to fit into the Walking Dead storyline. They gave me such a long leash to start with. Tobin should have been dead during the Walker Horde invasion of Alexandria. But by the time I was finishing the show, Tobin was becoming more of a trusted soldier type. He wasn't sort of the fearful, sheepish kind of guy that we met in season 5. He was right there on the front lines in the assault on Negan's compound, and of course we saw him sort of with Judith in the backpack as they were kind of trekking toward safety and freedom. So, I it's hard to know what he would be up to at this point. I think he would still be soldiering on and having an occasional interesting episode or two.
Yeah, I have to say your character had an interesting journey because you started out with like, well, let's abandon Francine, and then, but I had respect when you went to Deanna and said, hey, Abraham should take my job. He's better than me. So I had respect for that. It's like realizing that someone's better suited, that it takes a big man to do that. So,
well, like I said, in the comic book, Tobin, and in the show as well, it sort of sets the table for the arrival of Rick's group, and it kind of sets a contrast that this is how the Alexandrians were doing things behind their walls, playing it safe, but not really thinking about the future. And it was Rick's group that had to come in and say, this isn't going to last. This has been all well and good, but this is all going to crash down. Do you guys have any idea what the real world is like? And so, I think Tobin was kind of a bellwether for a different kind of thinking, and we all had to evolve to adapt to the world that we were actually living in, and not the pretend world that we were trying to be.
Exactly.
And Cal, you know what? For me, in the perfect world, Oscar would have had a twin brother.
Yes, absolutely. And could just show up, and then is there anyone? I mean, Carol might be like, you look familiar. Well, I had a twin brother. He was down in prison.
Looking for him.
I made much better choices.
I was your twin brother, Oscar. I always felt like Axel was your twin brother.
He was my brother from another mother.
I see.
I thought we were going to do a Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito twins remake here.
Exactly.
Gibson.
Okay, so this is a little more of a fun question from Marius Least. I'm hopefully saying that right. Do you guys know how many walkers you actually killed? You guys are like concentrating. Let's go with Lew. Lew, how many walkers did you kill? We know you got the one kind of with the blood bag.
That's the thing. You can't actually kill a walker unless you really do. And so the first, when we first went at the walkers, we didn't kill any of them. I mean, we just hack them up and, maim them, and they just kept coming. So it took us a long time to figure that out. So most of the barrage that the prisoners took on, we had to have, Rick and Daryl and T-Dog had to come in and finish the job until we figured out the headshot. And that was, so, maybe I accidentally got one.
Well, you're a man of peace, so we understand. Jason, do you remember how many you offed?
17.
17?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Give or take 15 or so.
All right, so give or
hard
take,
to tell because you're firing like a madman in those scenes, and walkers are dropping, and I'm taking credit for as many of them as possible. So unless it had an arrow go through its head, then we'll give that one to Daryl or Michonne. Otherwise, those were all mine.
All right. So anywhere from 2 to 32. Vincent, do you remember how many you offed?
Maybe 8. For the simple fact, for a while there, I never had a weapon. Even when I was traveling with them, I can outrun everybody, but and then they gave me like a crowbar. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then all of a sudden the writers gave me too many weapons, and then I couldn't even run because I had too much stuff on me. So, I'm swinging like, because I had too many weapons on me. But I would probably have to say about 8.
8 works. Chandler, you must have killed a lot.
God, well, you would think that, but like I didn't get my first melee kill until like season 5, and God, I'm trying to think. I think I remember seeing some like chart somewhere on like Reddit or something, and they had Carl at like 40 something. I don't know how accurate that is because there was really only a handful of times that I actually like, you know, shot down like a bunch of walkers. It was mainly just like one here and there, like every few episodes. But I know, David, I know that you have definitely killed a lot in your couple seasons on the show.
Yeah, I killed a lot of walkers, but I also killed a lot of humans. I mean,
That too.
practically killed my entire town. You know, just because I got a bit pissed off, I got to turn around and machine gun my entire town.
Well,
So,
David didn't just kill walkers; he created walkers.
Yeah, I created quite a few. I remember it's hard to keep quiet because I remember there's a scene where I'm playing golf on top of a truck in Woodbury, and I'm hitting these golf balls. And sometimes there'd be like the guys out there who are playing the walkers, and sometimes they drop and the ball is nowhere near them. And I was like, wow, that's a great shot, but it's not mine. So like you, Jason, I was taking credit for all of them, but some of my golf shots were not as accurate as I was hoping they would be. But the guys who were playing the walkers made me look better than I was.
I think they actually
magic of
CGI'd
post.
some balls. Yeah.
They CGI'd balls onto their heads, and it was like, it made me look, honestly, it was great. I looked like Dustin Johnson.
That is awesome. All right, let's see here. I actually know the answer to this for Jason, but which of you guys still watch the show, and who's your favorite current character? And I'm going to skip you, Jason, because you told me recently that you don't have time to watch the show, unless you've changed.
You know, I just haven't caught up. I'm so far behind, and there's so many different iterations, and then with Fear, and I mean, it's massive. Someday I will.
David, do you still watch it all?
I don't. I watch bits every now and again, but I haven't really tuned into like a season. Well, I mean, once you know, not just because once you leave the show, but you're as an actor, you know, hopefully you get involved in other stuff, and you're in that stuff. And now I'm doing Britannia, and that's sort of my life, and I'm doing that. So you tend with that. You know, there's lots of stuff I miss about the conventions not happening. But one of the big things I miss is that catching up with the shows and what's happening in them so that you can talk about them. And I haven't done that for a long time, but I would like to go back and start. I watched a bit of the Alpha stuff, because I know Sam and I love her, and I just watched a bit of that, but I've not seen anything for a while.
Chandler, have you watched it all?
Yeah, I'm caught up through the end of season 9. I'm just waiting for season 10 to come out on Netflix. I like to try and stay up to date because, you know, I'll go to these conventions and then people ask me questions about what's going on in the new seasons. And I feel really bad when I say that I have no clue, since like, I feel like being on since like, you know, episode 1, I have an obligation to like at least see it through to the end, you know, and being a big fan of the comics, you know, I feel like I as a service to like my own dedication and to the fans, I should keep on watching. And so now I'm just waiting for season 10 to be on Netflix.
No, it's a shame you won't get your comic book ending. You know, the Herschel conflict.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but you know that's why like the show it's really cool because it keeps you on the toes. You don't know what's going to happen if you just read the comics. I'm excited to see how they're going to actually end the show, you know, since they can't do the ending in the comics. So I'm excited to see how they're going to end it in the show. It'll be cool.
Absolutely. Plus with the spinoff coming, they kind of spoiled.
Well, yeah.
Like there's no jeopardy for Daryl and Carol because we know they're having a spinoff. So, and unless it's going to be a ghost type thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect them to kill off Daryl or Carol, anyways, in the first place. So I wasn't that surprised, but
we didn't expect them to kill off you though. So
yeah,
well, you know, it is what it is.
So Lew, do you keep up with the show at all, or have you caught any of it?
You know, there was a scene that we filmed, Carol and I, where we were absent in the generator room, which I'm still waiting to sort of see that it may surreptitiously show up in maybe one of Carol's fond memories or daydreams. So I tune in to sort of hope that I'm back. So in some form or another, but that keeps me updated. And I still root for Carol. You know, she's had such a crazy, amazing arc, and Melissa's so good at what she does and so balanced, I think, with her work that I appreciate it.
Quick side note, Walker Love wants to know, do you think Carol and Axel would have hooked up if, the governor didn't?
I think I just gave you the answer to that. Yes. I think, again, there was an episode, where's Axel, where's Carol? And Daryl says, I think they're in the generator room trying to fix something. And trying to fix some broken hearts. So, yeah, I think for sure they would have had at least a friendship. We had a lot of jokes about Carol in our day. No offense, Tobin, but we would call her the Widowmaker. You know, every time she got close to somebody, off they went. Irony, myself.
Well, that wasn't a joke. That's just a true fact.
Yeah, Tobin, you'd have to support that, Jason. So it was. I think that. At least for friendship, I don't know how amorous it might have gotten. Like for Axel, he was all in any port in the storm for sure.
All right. And Vincent, do you keep up with the show? Do you watch it at all?
Well, I have to agree with what David said. Most of the time, most of the shows that I've been on, I have never even seen a show. Or if I book it and then, I don't watch it anymore, then I try to use that whole concept. Well, if I didn't watch it, then maybe they'll bring me back. Not saying just, The Walking Dead or anything like that, but any show that I might have got killed off on or something like that. Once I get to, right now it's like you have to focus on your next job and study for that and all that other stuff. See, when I get to be like David and people just, well, we want you on the show, then that's something totally different. But when you got to study and have all these pages memorized or memorize as much as possible, you just try to focus on that. But at the end of the day, it's like you feel honored and blessed to be on such a show that so many people love. Because, I've said this on so many interviews. I didn't even know what The Walking Dead was. I didn't even know about the comic book or anything. When I got hired on the show, I was like, well, what is it about? And it's like, well, it's about a group of people, and they said zombies and stuff like that. And my first thing was, who's watching that? And come to find out, millions and millions of people were watching it. And like what Lew was saying with the whole, our first day, and to see what's his name get his leg cut off right there, it's like, oh, this is serious. You better bring your A game. Because if not, you're going to be out of here quick. So I gained a huge, huge respect for it. And I started seeing, how many people love the show. So I was just honored to be a part of it.
That's awesome. And yeah, you can't keep up with everything you've been on. So especially David, he's on so much nowadays. And I loved your appearance in Good Omens. That was great.
Yeah. I love doing that show. That was great. And what a crazy piece of work that is. Yeah, brilliant.
Did you actually get to see David Tennant, your old Blackpool
Not on that
co-star?
day, but I did see him. I saw him a couple of weeks before then. Him and Michael, they'd sort of wrapped on that show. Yeah, so.
Well, we're getting to the end, and unfortunately, we have more questions that we're unfortunately not going to be able to get to. 0007 Jet Lag News, thanks for your questions. Reese and Murray Home. It's like you all have great questions, and I wish we had time to answer them all, but unfortunately, we do have to wrap things up. I do want to go around, and if you guys have a message for your fans out there and anything you want to promote, real quick. So let's start. Chandler, do you have anything that you want to say to your fans or promote?
Well, obviously I just wanted to say thanks to everyone out there that has been sticking through for the last however many years. Like I've been doing conventions since I was 11. It's been almost 10 years that I've been doing these things. So it's really, really cool to still be a part of a part of like the show, even though I've been off it for a few years. It's really, really cool. So thank all of you guys for giving me this wonderful way to keep me busy during these crazy times, and for for just keeping me going. It's great. And I have a Twitch where I stream me playing video games, like at least a few times a week for many hours throughout the day. And yeah, so come check me out. It's just Chair Handler, and it's all over my socials. So yeah.
Awesome. David, any final words? Anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, this past year has been so tough for so many people, for all of us, really. And one of the things it's done is it's sort of made the world a smaller place because we're all suffering in the same way from the same thing, And one of the things that's really made it bearable for me is connection with people around the world. And that's what The Walking Dead has done for me. It's sort of given me a community around the world. And I would say that, in the past year, it's had to be about people reaching out to other people, sometimes people they don't know, checking in, making sure everybody's all right, because the big thing in the last years have been about isolation and people not being able to be connected with people. So it's about staying connected, and the show and the cons have always given me the ability to stay connected with people out there. So I would say thank you to everybody who's reached out to me and asked me if I'm all right in the past year, and I hope everybody else is all right, And it feels like, here in the UK, it feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel. We've got a plan about how to get out now. And I can't wait to see everybody again, not just the people on the show, but all the people who come to the conventions, and to get back on that road and meet people face to face. But I know this year's been tough, so I'm just sending my love to everybody, and can't wait to see you all.
Awesome. We can't wait to see you. Vincent, any final message, promotions?
Sure. Look out for my movie, The Stepdaddy, with my man Lew Temple in it. It's one of my creations. Got a movie called Devereaux, another one that I created, and my traveling show called Conventioning. It's all about conventions, where people don't realize it's like 13,000 different conventions out here, from your hair to your makeup to whatever. I just want to say thank you to Wizard World, because this is not my first time being a part of Wizard World. And just want everybody to be safe and check out my new wine, Ward Wine, coming to me.
And we all get free samples, right? So.
I got you covered. So I just want to thank the fans and thank the Walking Dead for allowing me to be a part of it. Wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance.
Awesome words. Lew.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to make this real personal. I want to say to Chandler that the work that you did on The Walking Dead at your age and your experience in life, for me, was always amazing. I'd worked a lot before that show, and I've worked a lot since it, but I honestly haven't seen anyone being asked to do the emotional content that you had to do, and to watch you go through that with the grace and talent is just, it always just struck me. David, your character, the governor, is my favorite in the show. I thought it was so complex, and I thought you understood it so completely, and the nuance and the detail that was in it is entirely perfect, and it just was spot on, and I so appreciated it, and it was an honor to watch that. Vincent, of course, you and I are bros, and you made it so much better for me every day to enjoy just the joy that you had coming to work, and it was so personal being there. But even beyond all of that, fellas, Jason Douglas, and I'm just going to say this publicly, if it wasn't for Jason Douglas, I actually wouldn't be here physically right now. In a very dire time in my life, he stood up and he took care of me, and he literally saved my life. and I'm so proud of the work that he does, and the family man that he is, and that he's my friend amongst all of you. So on a personal note, I'm going to say thank you to all these fine gentlemen, and thank you to Wizard World for inviting me to be part of that, and to The Walking Dead for kind of bringing it all together, and of course to the audience for being part of that. So just thank you. I'm very grateful.
You're making me tear up, Lew. You're making me tear up. So those are great words. Jason, finish us out, please.
Man, I don't know how to follow some of these words. I'm just so honored to be on this panel. Lew, brother, I love you, man. And all of you guys, some of you, Chandler, who I got to work with a little bit, David, Vincent, we've met at shows. The greatest thing about The Walking Dead has been the family that it has created around not only the cast but the fans, and obviously the way the conventions took off, and we were able to kind of like bump fists and hug fans and hear their stories and hear how that inspired they were. I've met so many like cancer survivors and other folks who have been through rough patches in their life, and they will tell you they got through it because of the way, just because in some ways because of the show, like the example of just kind of what it means to be a survivor. And I thought the show, when it's at its best, it's about those human stories. We love the horror elements and we love the effects, but when it's well written and the stories are great, it's about those humans that are surviving, which we all are, and it really resonates, I think, with all of us over the past year. So, thanks, Kyle, for bringing me on last minute. It's such an honor. I feel like I'm the low man on the totem pole here, but all these guys are so fantastic. I would be remiss if I didn't mention I've got a film coming out, an indie film that I shot last year with Michael Cudlitz from the show, and also Neil McDonough. And it's called Redstone, and I don't know about a release date, but apparently it's really good, and they're already making a sequel. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but please do look for that. And thanks again, guys. This has really been a ton of fun. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, Jason. That's awesome. So thanks to everyone who's been watching this panel as well. And don't forget, fans, in addition to this live panel, these amazing actors will be participating in one-on-one private video chats, or you can get custom recorded messages, autographs. You can go to wizardworld.com for more information. They'll be doing this all next weekend. And of course, continue to follow Wizard World on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and join us for some upcoming events. You can go to, again, wizardworld.com for a lot more information. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have Diversity in Pop Culture in 2021 with Tony Kim. On Tuesday of this week at 3 p.m., this is Pacific time, we have The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, followed at 6 p.m., The Walking Dead reaction with Fandom Spotlight. Plus, we have some Skybound and Walking Dead reactors as part of that panel as well. And we're going to have a rewatch party on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time of this particular panel. So one more virtual round of applause emojis for our great guests. Thank you to Chandler Riggs, David Morrissey, Jason Douglas, Lew Temple, and of course, Vincent Ward. See everyone next time.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, guys.
So
Thanks so
long,
much.
everyone.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Kyle.